Hello, and welcome to Chapter 77 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Clay at Fanboy Clay. Clay, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good.
For the second
Both,
time.
both, well, for a second time, but I just told you that right before we started recording, I saw some spoilers, and I'm not usually the one to post things, but I was like, oh man, I kind of have to. So for those of you who would like to know what they are, S Bubs, don't come in here and tell anybody because they're spoilers. But um come join us at the Geekverse Discord channel. The link is usually in the show notes. If not, you can always ask myself or Travis Snell for a invite. Um, Everything pops off there. S Bubs kind of has to be put on a leash sometimes, but it's all good. But yeah, we just had some fun Young Justice talk before this, and we were running a little late, but we're good now. Everything's
We
fine
wrapped it
and
up. We
dandy.
ready. We managed to wrap it up. If we didn't need to have water, we would have just continued right on into the show and wouldn't have had to push it 5 minutes. So we thank listeners for bearing with us there. 77, Clay, on our way to 100. I wonder, it wouldn't work out that 100 would be right around the Batman, would it? That would be so awesome if it was the case. Maybe we'll start pumping out 2 episodes a week to get there.
I'm not gonna map it out, so
Yeah,
you'll have to map that one out. Sorry,
yeah.
bud.
I can't even map out how many episodes I've done for the network, so this will be tough. But
I was kind of thinking because like the guys at the Marvel Alliance, they hit what? Did they hit 100 already,
no, they're
or
behind us.
really?
Yeah,
Oh wait, what was the big milestone that they hit? Was it 50? Or what was it that we were all having a discussion earlier this week or last week about it. Um, but I was saying that I can't keep track, honestly, of
same. I
how
kind of
long I
think that
was.
I kind of think that I've done the most episodes because I've done 2 weekly shows for the entirety of the network, and some have been bi-weekly, but uh, it can wear on you. But when you're talking about great stuff like Young Justice, it doesn't wear on you. That's only when you're talking about Titans, which we don't have. So I feel like this will be more of a positive show. It was last week. I feel like we'll be going forward, Clay. Nothing to weigh us down. But before we talk about Stargirl's finale, Doom Patrol's penultimate episode, and a little tiny sliver of DC news, I'm going to do the network plugs, get them out of the way. 1, 2, 3. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network with podcasts, sometimes 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, and sometimes even 7 days a week, 8 in total. On Mondays is World's Finest True Believer with Chris Belga. That's where Chris and a guest take a look at the comic of a guest choice. That's great. Uh, Ray from the Flight Cast joined Chris this week to talk about Funeral for a Friend, the one of the parts in the Death of Superman story arc. So that's great. I have that queued up. I haven't had a chance to listen to that yet, but
It was a
I'm
really nice
excited to.
discussion.
Was
I
it?
enjoyed it. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, and that rotates bi-weekly with Ranger Alliance, where Clay and rotating guest hosts Jake, Tony, and Joe take a look at anything and everything Power Rangers, whether it be comics, TV, and I assume you're eventually going to get to the movies for movie reviews.
Yes, we will. I think what we are planning on doing is we will go through all of Mighty Morphin. We will touch on the movie, and then we will go on to Zeo. And then once we do, because we were trying to decide whether the Turbo movie was canon or not, or whatever, which I believe it is, but in a weird way, it's not because of how the show plays out. So we're gonna play around with it, but we had a small discussion in front of Superior Discussions, and I feel like you have this discussion kind of whenever you talk to any of our hosts over at
Yes.
Ranger Alliance, because Rangers, the Power Rangers, is are really underutilized right now,
Yeah.
but they are planning on doing a lot more, and we plan on doing a lot more once those shows slash movies slash animated shows come out. So
Yes, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope they, like I said, go to the Teen Titans Go route with Power Rangers as well to get at those young kids. But that's exciting times, Clay. And on Tuesdays is this show, of course, DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is superhero discussions, where we're looking at Young Justice season 4. Myself and Clay just talked about season 4, episode 5, just before we went live here, and it was a great episode. Wasn't the caliber of the previous episode, but it's hard to be when the stakes were so high and we had so many things happen. But we still have the effects of that happening on other characters. So take a look at that. Uh, Two Sisters, great episode. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance with Clay and Katie. That's where they take a look at anything and everything Star Wars. On on yeah, on Thursdays. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance with Chris and Brent. That's where they take a look at anything, everything Marvel. On Saturdays is a walk through the multiverse. That's bi-weekly. That's with Joe, and he takes a look at everything that isn't DC, Marvels, or Star Wars. So check that out. He's talking about, I want to say, The Walking Dead, Why the Last Man, and Lock and Key. That's the most recent things I'm pretty sure he's talked about. So check that out. It's always fun. And Sundays bi-weekly is Slice of Film. That's where Katie and a guest take a look at either a movie of the guest choice or something new that's out and hitting the cinemas now. That's all the shows. DC Alliance goes live right now, usually 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Mondays on the Geekverse YouTube channel. Star Wars Alliance goes live on 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Geekverse YouTube channel on Wednesdays. And Marvel Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows have their own podcast feeds. If you just want to listen to just one of those, Marvel, DC, or Star Wars, search the name of the show in any of your podcast app of choice and you'll find them. But if you want all the shows, including the extra shows, World's Finest True Believers, Superhero Discussions, Ranger Alliance, Slice of Film, Walk Through the Verse, and the rest of the shows, stay subscribed to the Geek Ultimate Alliance feed on your podcast app of choice. That's all of them. Please take 60 seconds if you can possibly do that to rate and review the show on your podcast app. That helps greatly. I think that's everything. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar. You like what we're doing, you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself, Clay, Joe, and Chris finally recorded the last Ronin issue 4 review. It was great fun. So check that out, patrons, whenever that drops. That should be either there or pretty soon. So that's everything, Clay. Feel like I repeated myself twice in 30 minutes.
It's all good. Before we head off to like legit DC news, I said on our Twitter account that I have a little bit of an announcement to make. And I am very excited to do this. Nobody in our network knows except for you. I finally let you know. I was really trying to be like, nah, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna tell anybody and then just drop it here. But it's not something super big. It's something that I think more of us as a community can get involved in, and hopefully it can turn into something a lot more. So it's funny that I say this because as soon as I had access on our DC Alliance Twitter account for this one individual thing, my account gained access for it also. So I may be doing a lot more with it in the future. But what that is Twitter Spaces. If people don't know what this is, it is something new.
Tell me about it, Clay, because I don't know what it is.
It is something new that Twitter is doing. People get on to basically have podcasts on Twitter. It is you can basically create a conference room, create a room where people will go to and they will listen to whatever it is. If you go onto your Twitter account right now and scroll all the way up, sometimes you will see at the very, very top, you will see like little purple bubbles.
I've seen them before.
So those are Twitter Spaces. You can go in there and listen to these people talk about whatever they are currently talking about.
Oh,
you
okay.
can. It's specifically to get in the realm of podcasting. Now, I'm not saying that we are going to create a whole new podcast and we're not going to be switching to Twitter for our main source of live feed or anything like that. Myself, I have been really big into comics for most of my life, and I started podcasting with reviewing comics, and I still love that medium. And I was even doing a Patreon show for a lot of you guys um, for like the past 3 months or so. Um, that is no longer something that I have been able to do, but because of this, I think it's really cool and that I could reach more of an audience doing this, not just our very own audience here on the YouTube stuff, people who normally listen to us on podcast, but bringing more people in. And you can also, of course, get notifications via our DC Alliance Twitter account when I go live. So, well, I say go live, but create a room and create a discussion. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be every Friday or Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be creating a comics review room where I will be reviewing DC comics that are coming out weekly.
Ooh.
So the modern comics that are coming out every single week, I will be in those rooms or in the room that I create, and I will be reviewing this. People can come in and they will listen. I want to learn more about it because if it can be a little bit more of a discussion, I think that would be really cool as well. Listeners can get involved and all of that jazz. And then, of course, it is completely open for the rest of the GUA and Geekverse podcast to join in as well whenever they want. So that's just something that I'm wanting to do. I know that the comic book reviews is something that some people may want to know about, whether it be fans of Superman right now, because they're, apparently Action Comics this week is the start of a brand new series that is equivalent to that of the death of Superman, apparently.
Ooh.
So I haven't read it yet, but I will be reading it tomorrow. But yeah, it's very exciting news. I'm very excited to get into this whole Twitter space, whatever that is involved. So I really am excited.
Oh, that's pretty cool, Clay. I'm hoping to check that out whenever I have the opportunity. I'll definitely make me read more comics, which is always a great thing. And everyone check it out. Clay will tweet. I'll be sure to check retweets from me and everybody else on the network. I'm definitely going to be there for the first one, Clay. Before we get into anything newsworthy, I have a couple congrats to send people's way. First, for the entire crew at the Geekverse Podcast Network. They did a great job this weekend. They hosted a charity live stream, 24 hours in support for BC Children's Hospital. They raised, first their goal was $2,500. They passed that. Then they made a goal of $3,000 and they passed that. They ultimately received $3,336. That's in accordance with Extra Life too that they're working with, and it's just great just to see great people for a great cause raise money, put yourself through hell of 24 hours staying up, which is something that really hard
And
for me.
and I just want to say as well, I kick Snell's ass.
Well, I was getting to that. See, you couldn't wait.
No,
The
no, I
congrats was
couldn't.
coming
No,
your way. You just had to wait another literally
no,
20 more
it's
seconds.
it's yes, the congrats is to me, but it's also to my team. I want to thank Scott. I want to thank Philip. I want to thank. Oh shoot, they're going to kill me. They weren't on my team, but the guys over there with the Star Wars podcast, which I've actually put onto my feed.
Rogue Squadron, I think they're.
No. There wasn't Rogue Squadron. I don't
I can't remember
believe.
their name now. They just gave so many funny answers. Clay's talking about the trivia contest throughout that charity live stream that Clay
Yes.
went up against Mr. Snell. It was so much fun. I did the DC trivia side. I thought that I made the questions too easy, and I guess
No,
I was too wrong.
no, there was some doozies in there. I'm really happy that I got the Dark Knight question right, which
I
was a
am
total guess.
absolutely floored that you got Lou Diamond Phillips. But that a pilot, so many people have not seen that pilot, but I don't even think you saw the pilot. I think you probably were at Comic Con, and on his banner, it might have actually said,
No. So I like I told you, I saw that pilot on YouTube once,
yes.
but the the reason why I remembered it so well or that it like came to me is I said it in the trivia match. I actually had a chance over here in San Antonio. There was a Comic Con, Alamo City Comic Con, and he was outside and he needed a light for his cigarette, and I lit a cigarette for him, and we had a small little discussion. It was like mind blowing. I was like, "Holy crap,
Oh,
you're
that's
Lou
so
Diamond
cool.
Phillips!
So cool. Yeah,
You're in La Bamba. That is amazing." You know?
Clay got that one that came in a left field for me, but it was great fun. Chris had a lot of good questions, and I haven't watched the Star Wars trivia yet. I've heard it was pretty crazy. A lot of points going around, a lot of guesses that were right. So I'm excited to check that one out as well. Great job by everyone. Um, I think that's it, Clay. Props to you for winning. I don't know. Will that give you a title shot now? Does that?
Oh, it better. It better.
Yeah.
I'm sending my lawyers to meet his lawyers. We're gonna have a few discussions, and I want that belt.
Yeah, I
I
gotta say
want it.
too,
It's
it was
I
nice
want it.
not to have to do 3 rounds of trivia. Last year, I was actually answering the questions. This year, I only had to ask one set, but it was daunting to try to assemble questions that you thought were going to be hard or to stump people. It just a great fun time had by all, and just props to everybody from the Geekverse Podcast Network again, and props to Clay and his team of Rangers for beating the Wolves.
Hell yeah.
So, Clay, I think. Uh, we can go into an ad before we get into Stargirl finale. Listeners, we're at Ad Support Network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be back shortly in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Clay. We have a finale. Another show bites the dust. I was talking to you before we went live and saying at least we're done with the dumb uh, episode names of Summer School, but unfortunately, we got a tease at the end for the titles for the episodes of next season, which is called Frenemies. I didn't think
I
it could get worse than Summer School, but it
so
did.
so we got this tease of frenemies, I think the week before this aired.
Yes.
And I think it was Chris Balga over at Marvel Alliance that shared it with us. And he says, "Don't know if this is real, but if so, this is rough." And I will completely agree. Um, I don't like it. I think it's very weird that they started to give Stargirl this like subtitle, basically. Um, and it's just like any trade paperback or hardcover graphic novel that you grab. It's Batman, The Long Halloween, or Superman, Man of Steel. For some reason, they're like Stargirl, Summer School, and I'm just like, don't like it. Definitely don't like frenemies, because I will already go ahead and tell you this. This not on the same scale. So let me go ahead and say this: Stargirl season finale reminded me of Titan's season finale, but not on that scale. Let me just tell everybody now, I still enjoy Stargirl. I enjoyed what it did, but there was a moment where they could have ended the episode and it would have been great there. It would have been like, hey, that is the episode. We're good. Let's go home. It's a wrap. But they still kept going after that. And because I posted in the GUA chat after I had watched it, and I said, I saw it, and then I did like a little a gif of George Lopez doing the whole like, I don't know. So how'd you feel about this?
I enjoyed this. Like I said in the chat, uh, I think that, like I said, Titans has me a little numb to something that might be bad because I enjoyed this, but I do agree that it could have ended. Seems like it went on 10 minutes extra. Uh, I don't know, a little anticlimactic, but we also have some setup of stuff that I'm really interested in seeing, especially the Starman and Stargirl. So
Mhm.
that's something that I'm looking forward to. Shade not being gone was another. I'm glad we
Oh,
didn't
I
lose
told
many
you.
villains. You
I
did say it.
told
You did
you.
call that. You did call that. But you also called what the other shadow was as well.
Uh,
Her brother. Or was
no,
that
I
me? That was me. That was me. Sorry.
Well, no, no, no. I said that the
Remember
other.
when they detected the ring? The
Yeah,
ring detected.
I
Yeah.
said it was probably her brother, and
Yeah.
it
That's
wasn't.
yeah. Yes, it was because we got that tease at the end of the episode.
That's not her brother.
That's who's gonna be in that. She was looking for her brother, and they know.
Well, yeah, yeah. They know that she is looking for her brother, but they already said that in the very beginning of her episode, of her first episode, that she was looking for her father and her brother. But the person that they showed at the end as like a post credit scene or whatever, um, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that might be Mr. Bones. I think. I'm not entirely sure. Um, it did look like he had flesh on him, which was weird, but I am pretty sure that may have been Mr. Bones.
I
Um,
don't know. That's the other thing, right? I'm not sure about the character. He looked like Red Skull to me. Uh,
yeah, so
but
Mr.
it is Mr. Bones from looking at the cast list.
Oh, it is Mr. Bones?
Yeah,
Okay, so Mr. Bones is the head of oh shoot,
Helix
what
Institute.
is I but I don't know if that's what he is in the comics. That's what I'm
Okay. Well that's where he was too in this episode. The
Okay,
Helix
so
Institute.
Mr. Bones is the head of like a secret organization or whatever. Um I almost want to say that he like Bendis put him in charge of like the DEO or something, which is not like what he is. Um but they've been using him a lot recently in comics. But yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I recognized him because he's been showing up a lot lately in comics right now.
Okay.
So it's very interesting that they are deciding to go that route in a Stargirl show. Um, so that's fun, I guess. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Because let's just go ahead and say this: this entire episode was the big bad final fight. Was the Avengers versus Loki, basically. Um, I enjoyed most of it. The entire turn for Courtney was kind of course, like what's the foreshadowed, I guess.
Yeah, it
So we
was.
already knew that.
Alluded to.
Yeah, we kind of knew that was going to happen. I do very much enjoy the uh, involvement of Silvestri because in the middle of the freaking fight, I was thinking, where is he? And one of my biggest complaints about this season is him. And the reason why is in the flashbacks, I'm glad he was there because, of course, it takes precedent for him being the leader of the JSA.
Yeah.
But in present time, you saw him go into the diner and he said, "Hey, I need to talk about your ex-husband, the one that I forgot what comment he made at the very end of that one random episode, and that was the last time you saw him in present day.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's just boom, he's there.
It's
Don't
not
get me.
it's not all of a sudden because we haven't seen him in a long time. What I gathered from that, we'll get explanation from that next season because I don't think there was enough time in this uh, season finale if you wanted to clue things up for to have
I
his explanation.
At the same time, though, I do think there is enough fluff throughout the entire
Oh
season
yeah,
that you
I'm
could
not going to
have
argue
cut
with that.
to bring him more into the fold and like
Yeah,
a
but
bit like getting closer and closer to Blue Valley. I think that would have been a really good setup.
that would have also taken away from the surprise of him showing up. I think you could hint Canada of he didn't even he when he knew Pat, he wasn't going out with Courtney's mom. What he knew, that was the last woman that he knew with Pat. So I'm just assuming that's like it takes a while for him to track him down. And we'll get that explanation next season. I did like him getting there. I would have liked more foreshadowing, Clay. You are right. The one, like having the one off, I wouldn't want every episode getting an update on where Starman is and his journey to come
Well,
there.
I wouldn't want that either.
Yeah, but I would have liked maybe one or two more appearances in a scene or something, just
because it was
alluding
just
to
a
him a bit
really
more.
weird way to like just be like, boom, he's gone
Yeah,
now. You know, like we're never gonna see him again. Um, and then for him to just pop up, I felt that it was very appropriate just because they're like, I think it was Eclipso that was talking about how uh, the the cosmic or not the cosmic, yeah, the cosmic staff, right? Is that what's
yeah.
called? Can oh yeah, because she called it Cosmo. Can be only wielded by one person, and then he's there. He's like, or maybe two. Like it was a good line. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it, and I'm just like, God damn, he like I know whether it be like I'm not saying he's A tier freaking actor or anything.
he's not.
I'm not saying he is,
Okay.
but I'm saying if you give that man the right script, and the one thing that I don't like is the amount of beard that he has. I think it
Yeah,
looks a little weird. I think if you go to how he usually looks, um, I think this is just like him being like, "Nah, I have a COVID beard and I'm keeping it." You know, like a lot of people have chosen to do
well, I
the past
assume
2 years.
with CW, I assume their logic is he hasn't been around a long time, so he should grow a
Yeah,
big beard in the
and
time to
exactly, and
make
it's
him
like,
seem like he's been gone for a very long time.
and I want him to suit up next season. That kind of alludes to the question that Tony has. He had Tony, my co-host for Ranger Alliance, sent us a question. He said, "What do you want?" What was the exact
What
question?
three things do you want to happen in season
No,
three?
no. What things would you like?
Okay.
Would you want to see in season three? One of them being, I want to see Starman suit up with a new costume. I want to see
Ooh.
him. I want to see a newer, like revamped Starman for sure. Doesn't mean that he has to overshadow Stargirl whatsoever. Even if he were to just do it one time, I think that would be good enough for me. Um,
Oh, I'm excited for one thing I want to see is the training of
well,
Starman
yeah,
training
because they
Stargirl,
did
and
they
they
did
did
tease
allude to
that.
that.
Yeah.
And they also said that he said like there's so much more for you to learn, like techniques with the staff and things you can do. So I'm interested. Maybe we can have both of them going out together, and maybe he can like use some of the energy and just shoot it, or you like I don't know what they'll do, but I'm interested in that. I want to see more young members of the JSA. I'd like to see a Wally West. He's not being utilized in any other medium right now, so I think that would be a good addition. And I'd like to get somebody from Wildcats past showing up.
I I don't know if I like the inclusion of Wildcat in this.
Oh, I thought that that was a little off because we didn't get much, and she's barely ever seen him. So that's
Exactly. And like it was just
it's more
it's
because what Courtney said to her, but
exactly,
even that,
exactly. That's what I like.
yeah,
It's a
that's
very
what,
loose thread
yeah.
is really it. And I was just like,
That's exactly what I told
mm,
myself, Clay. Is I was like, if I keep poking it, if I keep pulling at this, I'm gonna pull this whole thing apart because him just showing up, we needed some time of maybe her looking up stuff about him and trying to figure out stuff about him after hearing that he killed somebody. That would be something that I would have liked for her to see. That would have made him showing up a bit more uh, make more sense because he would have been on her mind more.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But I did enjoy the fighting here. What do you think about how they basically took down Despero, took down Eclipso? I'm thinking of the Flash crossover there for a second.
I I really enjoyed that scene because it was their Avengers scene. The very first Avengers when they are facing Loki inside the Avengers Tower, it is exactly that. And I that is the moment they defeat Eclipso and turn him into toast. That's where I wanted the episode to end. Like just like do one or two few minutes to wrap it up because you can't just end it there and be like, okay, credits. You know, you kind of have to lean into an ending.
And
And if
set
you
up our people for things going forward.
Exactly. If you would have just ended it there, it would have been great. But they kept going, and it was just like, okay, I don't need to know this stuff. Like we could set all of this up in next season, and then they ended it with one thing that I do not want for next season,
Which is,
which is Cindy and the JSA.
I like the idea of her trying to get redemption because it's hard for other
I don't want it.
people. No, I don't. I don't know if it's even gonna be earned. 'Cause I don't see it being earned. I could see her going back to being bad, but I also love how it puts the position it puts the team in. Of if you're gonna give second chances to people, and this girl's asking for a second chance, she just helped you take down Eclipso and never betrayed you. Oh, you know, the quintessential maybe there's good in people. I don't think it's going to pan out that way. I think that she's who she is, but I'm interested to see if they'll go the classic trope of her actually redeeming herself and being part of the team, or if they will stick with the no, she's too evil. Like that's not happening. But
Yeah.
I could see it happening. I could see it coming from some of the times we've seen her this season, especially what happened last episode where she was pulled out by Courtney and she watched Courtney and her mom have great moments and all that. I Courtney had everything. She said that a few times as well. So I'm interested, but she's not going to win any popularity contests like antagonizing people like she did with uh, Wildcat.
Yeah. Well, you know what? One thing
Well, one other thing too, Clay, going through what she went through with Eclipso and reliving her worst days and that can change somebody too. So
it it
maybe,
it can, and I think that's kind of what they were teasing at,
yeah,
with the whole thing with her mom, and then like kind of hitting the nail on the head with her younger self fighting her in
yeah,
this episode. Um, it was kind of fighting her past to like get over that. Um, I get it.
yeah,
For me though, it's almost like, and I kind of feel like a hypocrite because like Jason Todd in the comics, I get. Jason
yeah,
Todd in Titans, I don't get. Um, but I maybe it's because I don't know this character,
yeah,
and I think this is a new character that has been created via this show. I don't think she's in the comics whatsoever. Um, so maybe that's I'm a little wishy washy on this whole thing.
yeah.
But she is such a polar opposite of oh shoot
The rest of the team,
the rest of the team, but more importantly Stargirl,
yeah, Courtney,
um Courtney, sorry, um that like, and you kind of know that like, okay, frenemies, she's gonna be on the team, there's gonna be a lot of headbutting, Cindy is gonna act like she's the leader of the team, like they're gonna throw all the tropes at you,
yeah.
and I don't know if I want that.
I think it all depends on how it's handled. Like I've seen Arrow do it good and do it bad, so I think it all depends on how it's handled. You got to make it believable if you're going to make that term. Like I was surprised with, I'll say, like I said, for example, with Arrow, how they were able to take Black Siren and make her redeemable. I was surprised, but it actually worked. So I know it's not exactly the same people, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I thought also, though, I would agree with you. They could have just had Sydney walk off into the sunset and you would have did a good job of her story arc and just her going off to try and improve herself, like improve herself and get over it even more of what happened. But you also set her up for wanting all those things by showing her last episode, like looking and yearning and wanting the friends and all that. So I can see why she went there, but I'd be very leery because she could want to replace Courtney, like you said. But Courtney, even at the end of this episode, said, after all the stuff with Eclipso, it just makes me like see the good in people even more.
Yeah.
So like you can see why she would agree to that. So it makes sense. We don't want to see the classic turn on you, but we got to remember too that some like especially with this show and the age demographic may be the first time for a lot of people watching a DC or a comic show. So maybe they might not see the trope that we've seen in Arrow and Flash and Supergirl and
True.
Legends. So I got to keep that mentality. But like I said with Titans, I'm not above destroying something if I don't like it. So I'll hold
And,
out. Like
and
with
like I said,
name,
the
Frenemies, terrible.
75% of this episode, if not 85% of this episode, was good.
Yes.
You know, because even like I Mike is a character that I want to enjoy, but then like he comes in here with freaking Stripe doing the floss and
Yeah, that's
telling
the stuff
old
I didn't need.
Calypso
You could have done the
to
big
kiss
hero
his
stuff
ass
about
and
it.
stuff.
Yeah, you
You
could
know,
do the
like
big hero stuff, but you didn't need to. I know he's a kid, but I didn't even need that. That's something I
yeah.
didn't really need.
Well,
And
and
like I said,
that was another thing here. You know, we how am I going to say this without sounding like a huge hypocrite? Because I don't want to sound like a huge hypocrite. Because I want to see some of these things that they're attempting to do,
yeah,
but in the way that they're doing it, it's not successful. And that is with the CGI in this show. Some of it is really good, and I
yes,
really enjoy it.
but like the giant burger, not so
No,
much.
not the giant burger, not the Solomon Grundy Eclipso fight. Like
Yeah,
that almost looked like claymation. And I was just like, okay, it's really cool that you have Solomon Grundy, and I know you want to do this, but like that was rough for me.
I was
Uh
glad he was killed though at the end, so we won't see him for a little while. I know Shade teases that you just got to bury him in the right place,
yeah.
but still, hopefully we'll get a season break. And one thing I did like that we got to talk about. Well, I'm just going to talk about it. I love how Rick did not get the formula right, couldn't get it right, and
Well,
went out
he
anyway.
I think he well it what
He was close.
in season 1 he got the formula correct, but at the end of this episode or in the middle of this episode, he can't figure out the hourglass. That's
Yeah,
completely different.
yeah.
So
Well, that's what I
he's
meant. Like he couldn't figure out how to get his powers back, which is something
yeah,
most classic times he'll get it just at the nick of time, come in and help save the day. But here,
yeah.
no, and he doesn't do much, which you can't. So you stick to that, and he goes to fight and he gets thrown, chucked, and then Grundy steps up for him, and then Grundy's killed. But that stuff was good. But like you said, when this that that story arc worked for me, that whole story arc of him and Grundy this year. But when you end it off with such bad CGI fight, that takes me out of that end part, which I didn't enjoy. So I'm trying to think of other moments. Well, I really enjoyed the Courtney being possessed by Eclipso. Thought that was good CGI and a good scene.
Mhm.
Uh, and Starman helping her fight through it. That was like we talked about. That was all great. I'm trying to think of anything else really. Oh, well, Beth and Dr. McNider. There's something I really liked, and there's something I could not stand, and I wonder if you could guess it.
Um
What do you think I did not like from that whole situation with Beth?
I'm gonna guess the whole "oh, we're superheroes, we're really cool" that whole thing
Yeah, her parents getting on
at the
like
at the
heroes.
very end of
Yeah.
her
Not
parents
only
being
did her being a superhero somehow reignite the passion of her parents,
that was a little
they're
weird.
also 100% on board with their 12-year-old daughter fighting crime, being a superhero, and talking about giving her a new suit and all that. Even though I would like to see nanotechnology suit, but just letting her go off like that, you completely done a 180, and it's kind of it's hard to see there. I know I suppose we roll with it. We have other things, but it was a little cringe for me.
There's a moment like don't get me wrong. I understand with these shows you have to stretch your sense of belief with some of these things. But when you like I can see Pat and Courtney's mom being on board with her being Stargirl because Pat was on a team of superheroes. He
And he
has the
knows that the
background.
staff picks the person too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But Beth's parents were not only like dysfunctional because of their divorce, but like you had almost zero interactions with them, if not zero good interactions with them for the entire season. And then all of a sudden, oh, Beth, you being a superhero saved our marriage, saved our lives, and we're going to be your superhero cheerleader squad. I'm just like, I'm sorry that, again, every moment after they defeated Eclipso, I didn't need.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I'd like to see some more Green Lantern. I want to see her use her powers more, and we get more of that. I feel like it was very
I
little,
think
but
we will see
still was
more
happy.
Jade.
Yeah.
I do not believe we will see uh her father.
Oh no, we won't.
And the reason why is because even though WB thinks they know what the multiverse is, they don't know what the multiverse is. And because Alan has already been casted in the Green Lantern Corps show, we will not see him on the CW.
Okay.
That's what I
I
believe.
can't I can't argue with you because we've had a history of that. Uh, I think that's pretty much it for Stargirls. Not looking forward to the title frenemies. Looking forward to the season though, and wondering what new if we're going to get any new JSA members is one of my big question marks.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Uh,
listeners, we'll take an ad break, I guess, and go into some quick news hits before we talk about Doom Patrol. Like I said before, listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. Going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Clay. We just got a couple quick news items before we go into Doom Patrol. Actually, let's go into Doom Patrol first and then do the quick little news bit at the end. We have season 3, episode 9, Evil Patrol. What do you think about this episode, Clay?
I was not digging it for, I want to say, probably 30 minutes, but the last few minutes, that's where it kind of got me. Um, I don't know. It's very confusing how I'm supposed to like believe this giant change for Rita
Yeah.
as a character when, yes, I know they show us that she had this whole new life and that she fell in love and all of this other stuff, but like those moments were very far and in between, so we didn't really see her fall in love, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very odd for me to have any kind of connection with what Rita is wanting to go and do
Yeah,
with
it's
Madame
hard to feel
Rouge.
her pain because we haven't
Exactly.
had that. That
And
is
and
true,
it's
but
more so used kind of as a joke, to be honest, because here she's like, "Oh, I know we tried to do this with your subconscious, but now you're here. Yay, let's go ahead and do this now." And it's going one by one, noticing that her superpowered team is now a depowered team.
bunch of useless pieces of crap, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
Clay.
Yeah. You know?
Cliff is basically the most important, like the one that still has everything, and he ultimately gets taken out of the equation pretty quickly. I enjoyed some of this episode, Clay. I gotta say, I think I might have enjoyed it a little bit more than you. Uh, there was some stuff in that earlier time that, like the Brotherhood of Evil, that worked for me being retired. I really enjoyed that.
I did enjoy that. The idea of Brain wanting to take over Cliff's body and
But
him
we have
actually.
no idea about that first, like, and then it shows her as a giant baby, like as a baby attacking him out of nowhere. You're just like, what in the?
Dude, when see that's when I like pause because when a show doesn't grasp me all the way, I have it in the background and I'm scrolling on Twitter.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, I hear Rita saying, "Oh, you know she can transform into anything." And it started to get kind of like that eerie feeling. I put my phone down, I started to watch again. And when Rita's head came out of that baby's body and she started to run around.
you mean that Madame Rouge?
Yeah, who
Yeah,
did I say? Did I say Rita?
Rita. Yeah,
No. So when Madame Rouge did that, I was like, "Oh my god!" not in a funny way. This is terrifying. Just having a very small toddler and or baby running around trying to kill you, yeah, it does not seem fun whatsoever. And even like freaking who was it? Vic. Well, like he started to like do his hand cannon, and then there was nothing there. He's like, "Oh crap!"
She
Oh,
kicks him right in the face,
yeah,
sends him flying,
and
and
we
ultimately takes him.
see, yeah, we see how kind of useless they are, and kind of in a weird way see that they aren't as a team as this show kind of makes them out to be, which is really funny in a way. We see them as the Doom Patrol because that's what the show is called, but it's very rare that they actually work as a team.
We've gotten it, like you said, seldom, but we have gotten it, and it's actually really good because I think of the fact that we rarely get them to work as a team. There was some stuff here that I really enjoyed. Brain trying to get Cliff's body, and ultimately achieving that, betraying Madame Rouge, and throwing them both off the pasture. I'll be interested to see how they get back to everyone and get his mind back into his body. And will the Brain try to infiltrate the manor and pretend to be Cliff, and how quickly will the others notice? That's a couple things that I'm interested in about that. The other thing I really enjoyed was Kay and Jane's little story of Kay taking control for a while and having a great little discussion with Cyborg about being in control for the first time. And we see how well Kay can last when shit starts going down in the real world. She's literally hid under the table in fetal position crying, and bails uh, on everything essentially, and goes back into her mind, causing Jane to have to deal with everything up top, which is how it usually happens, Clay.
So this is very interesting to me because I was very confused to start off with how exactly they transferred their consciousness. Is there a
Yeah.
moment of like passing where it's like, "Hey, you got this," and then like the acknowledgement, or is it literally forcing somebody out and they just are none the wiser? Um, let's stick on Jane real quick. Jane and Kay. I thought we would get some sort of inkling of where the other personas are.
We kind of did.
Did we though?
Yeah, because it sounded like they were the ones screaming out.
I don't think it
And
is. I want to go ahead and make my crazy prediction,
well,
which I might be wrong with. I think they're dead.
it could be the case. I know that at the end we get pretty much an expulsion of several of Jane's powers
Oh, it
at
just looked
one
like
time.
one. It looked like
No,
one
there was
power.
fire coming out of her too.
It wasn't out of her though. That was
Oh,
the fire was the parasite. It
really?
blew up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I
The
didn't
because do
notice
you know
that.
how the parasite was like turning red and
Yeah,
like zapping
Larry.
Larry?
Yeah,
Well, when she screamed and you saw all those ripples, it
it
hit the
burst.
parasite and the parasite like burst basically.
Okay, I thought that was part of her as well.
Yeah.
No, okay, I thought it was more than one power. Okay, well, uh, I don't know what is going on with her other people. They may be killed, but they also, the last thing that they said was never again for Jane, never again. So I don't know if they're gonna. I think they went wherever they went on their own, on their own. Like they weren't forced or dragged anywhere.
Either they are dead or they
Yeah,
have been turned into whatever we saw
yeah, that which was
in the
really
underground.
scary.
Which like at one point, and I would be really interested to know what the writers think about this, is at what point do we separate Jane and Kay legitimately? Because I think Jane is technically Kay, but a stronger version of K. Because even Jane doesn't have any powers. She said that to Rita on this episode.
Yeah.
And so, because of that, there could be a really weird trip or conclusion to be like, hey, Kay was never the original persona. Jane was always the original persona. And Kay was just a manifestation of her past.
It could very well be, but we also got Kay was the one that screamed and sent out those shockwaves. And that is what caused Jane to scream and send out those shockwaves. So I'm not sure. I think that Kay has always been the primary, but I don't know. I'll need more info, but I'm really curious. That's a storyline that I'm all here for.
Yeah, but also like my big thing is with Jane and Kay whenever they were first interacting in this episode. Kay is very much like a oh, she's still having this argument of like I want to have the same feeling that I had in the fog and you won't let me and blah 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 blah. Um I want to know like I said, I want to know who is the dominant of the two.
Well, we've been
Is
told multiple times who the primary is.
we've been told, but I kind of want I kind of want a headcanon that like
There we
and
go.
yes, I'm gonna headcanon this until it's proven otherwise. And that doesn't mean that I'm right and it doesn't mean that I'm wrong. This is because I do feel like there could definitely be a twist with her character.
Yeah,
Um
but from everything we've said, been told, what you're presuming is everything we've been told was a lie.
Not necessarily like yes and no. And the reason why I feel like there's this weird like play off of like, oh, can you really trust the voices in your head? Like literally breaking the fourth wall and telling that story to the audience. Hey, can you really trust the voices in your head? And all of those voices being all of the personas. So like, could they all be fake?
But they
And then
were
that
created.
be well, that's what I mean. Like, is Jane that powerful? You
But
know?
we've seen multiple personalities come out in the past 3 years using different powers, so they got to be real. She doesn't have all these different powers, and then she can't like some of these people don't even look like her when she transforms into them. Well, they do look like her on top, but down in the mind, I
I don't
honestly,
know her character in the comics. That's why I'm so
yeah.
fascinated with her, and that's why I'm like throwing shit out there to be
Well,
completely
there is
honest.
possible too because this show does put everything on its head a lot. But I think we'll have a better idea after the season finale because uh, I don't know if like she's apparently like discovers like a place where evil spirits are. But are they evil spirits or are they just the spirits of her other personas? Like you said, could they all be killed? There's so many things with that I hope that we get. And the other thing with Larry is, will that parasite be dead, or will it actually like turn into something? And way Doom Patrol goes, that will be the thing that helps save him for the end of
Yeah,
the season. So, uh, great little penultimate episode, Clay. There's been a couple of good ones in a row now, and this discussion about Crazy Jane has me pretty excited. To be honest with you, with where this
because
is
we
going.
have how many? We have
One episode.
only one episode left.
Yeah.
This was the penultimate.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
We
Hmm.
have everybody has their things too. Cliff has the issues with his daughter, and his gambling as well as his Parkinson's. Jane has all that going on that we just discussed. Larry has the parasite going on in his life after losing the negative spirit,
So
and
what do
Vic
you think the
too.
parasite is, though?
I don't have a sweet clue. That's the other thing. Maybe it's just another negative spirit. Maybe it's. I assume the negative spirit wanted him to have it to bring him there, but I don't know. And Vic is the one that I'm super interested in because he's doesn't have any powers now. How long we said last episode, a couple episodes, and he'll be back to Cyborg. He has one episode. Do you think he's going to come back to being the way he looked before? And also, what did you think about Larry first saying congrats to Vic and then being like, Like, what the hell? Like, my epiphany was caring for this parasite, and his is getting skin back. Like, and he has a big thing like, what the hell, Larry? Like, you lied to my face. You told me that you were happy for me, and you actually weren't.
Well, I think it's like Larry is kind of showing. It's a difference in, okay, me accepting my pain is taking care of a parasite, but you accepting yours is looking normal, quote unquote normal, because we like, what is normal, especially in the Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Um so there's that whole thing. But I I'm very interested to see how quickly Vic will get his powers back if he does this season. Um, and what the hell they're gonna do about Robot Man, about Cliff, because he is literally a brain in a jar right now. No way to communicate whatsoever.
Yeah, well, we heard his voice though. So how's he even doing that?
Did we hear his voice?
I thought so
I
at
don't think
the end,
so.
or is it in the next episode? I watched a little promo for that, so that could very
Oh,
well have been it as
you may
well.
have, yeah,
Yeah,
you may have just
may
heard
have
it in the
blurred the
promo.
lines a little there, but I I, I still I wonder, will he get a new body? Will he get treated? Maybe being out of his brain, maybe being out of his body now and in that tube, maybe that'll help heal him. I don't know. There's so many questions I have with Cliff too. Coming off an emotional episode, this was a good episode though. I thought a lot of comedy, and I'm wondering, what, like I said with Cyborg, will he go back to being himself next episode? And I did love the back and forth that he had with his father in this episode as well. Like, just more personal issues going back and forth. Uh, not He's not quite as good as Silas in the live action for me, but he still really gives a great performance.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Clay, one episode of Doom Patrol left. I guess we'll talk about a few little news items before we end off this evening.
Yeah. Do you want to take one last ad break, or do you think we can do this real quick?
I think we can do this real quick.
All right. So first small little thing, kind of goes into the conversation that me and Katie will have on Wednesday night, of course, live here on the Geekverse YouTube channel.
One tiny quick thing before that. I don't even really want to mention it, but uh, some chatter about Green Lantern series being darker in tone than originally expected.
So
I
I
don't
didn't know
really
if
want.
I didn't want to know. I didn't know if we were going to bring this up. All I'm saying is, Travis, this was said to us when Titans was being announced.
And it
So
actually came out to be true, so I won't.
it has me worried.
Yeah, I
I don't want Titans in space.
no, I want it to be a good anthology series. So we'll hold, especially Illuminati is not exactly like 100% for me. So we'll hold until we see a trailer and see somebody say "fuck Green Lantern." Before that,
Fuck Hal Jordan.
yeah. So maybe I don't think we'll see that. So we'll skim on over that a little bit. That was the news. That looked like the news until a couple days ago. So
Yeah.
uh,
But the big thing, like I said, this does kind of affect what me and Katie are going to be talking about on Star Wars Alliance. Gal Gadot has teased Linda Carter's DCE return in Wonder Woman 3. It's even better this time. But the big news is the fact that Wonder Woman 3 has been pushed up. We had kind of heard about Wonder Woman 3, but we weren't sure exactly how long it was going to be until they started shooting or when they were even planning on doing anything. We all assumed that Rogue Squadron was going to be her next movie.
yeah.
So putting that on the back burner, if not completely just like cut from the Star Wars lineup to put Wonder Woman 3 ahead, I made the assumption to you guys over at the GUA that I think Patty wants to get her relationship with WB done with because of all of her pretentious elitist views on streaming and all of that.
I
I
don't know.
I
They're going
I
back to that. They're going back. They're backing off of that now, going into next year, and they got compensated with a. I don't see her like fully going out of the WB business, but I could also see her wanting to take a break from that relationship, that partnership. You could be right there, but I don't know. I don't think that she's completely disgruntled. I think that it's just as much a negotiating tactic as it is anything else when you're talking about that. Uh, I am excited. Like I said in the chat, our discussions. I think because Linda Carter is rumored to be in this as well, and we got a little tease of her. I know Zack Snyder's Justice League isn't canon, but it sets up Wonder Woman really great at the end of that film, where she's staring off into the sea, wondering about her home of Themyscira. The last thing she was told was by Steppenwolf that her mother was dead, and so many other Amazons were as well. So I feel like this movie, the part for Linda Carter, will be being the same character she was at the end of the second movie in the credit scene, but she will be helping Wonder Woman figure out a way to get back at Themyscira, whether it be using the lasso on herself or figuring out some other MacGuffin. I think she will either help her out or guide her, and that will be her role in this movie. It'll be much more substantial. So
yeah.
that's where that hubbub came from as well. The uh, speaking with, I think Gail spoke and said it was great to have Linda Carter there. So I
Yeah.
just feel like she's going to be a bit more involved. I'm excited for this, Clay. I didn't like Wonder Woman 84 very much. I really loved the first Wonder Woman, so I'm hoping it gets back to more of that and less of 84. And it'll be nice to get a present day film for a change with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the present day look at Wonder Woman as well. I do think just because it has been canonized that Linda Carter is just another
Astra.
Amazon, Astra,
Astra. Yeah.
that she would be involved more, and she will kind of teach Wonder Woman how to. I mean, Wonder Woman, or should I say, Diana, has learned clearly how to live her life in the modern
Yeah.
world, but maybe it was with the help of Astra, So
I thought I feel like we would have seen her before, but like you said, they could have maybe met before, and we might get that here. I think that she'll figure out and go to her to figure out how to get back on the island. Because I'm hoping that is the case. But like I said, I'm excited to see Wonder Woman. I wasn't a big fan of Wonder Woman 3. Wasn't a big fan of 84. So fingers crossed here that they get more. It's more my taste. This
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah. And the second bit of news we have had since uh, we've had a trailer and now a poster of the crossover with the Flash and what's the official title of this? Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Of course, it does have everybody, including Batwoman, Black Lightning, Green Arrow, uh, the Atom, as well as what's her name on Supergirl? I haven't caught up, so I don't know who that is.
Sentinel, Tyler Lee Sentinel.
Yeah, Sentinel. I do know that it's Superhero's sister, but I just didn't know what her superhero name was.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I am still very hesitant on how this will go. We have decided to review these first 5 episodes to see how well this crossover does. But we shall see. We shall definitely
Yes.
see.
Yes. I'm the same with that. We shall see about it. I am out on the Flash, so maybe this will pull me back in. Maybe not. Maybe this will be a good swan sign. So I'm looking forward to seeing Mia. Looking forward to seeing Adam. A couple characters I haven't seen in quite a while.
That's really like the one thing that I want to see is Mia. So
Adam too. I've enjoyed Ray Palmer as the Adam, and we didn't get him, especially in the last few seasons of Legends. He was rarely ever wearing a suit, so
oh,
I'm
that's
looking.
true. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this and see how they do with Despero as well. So uh, I think that's everything, listeners. Low news week, but we had some shows. We're going to get some more shows coming. Like I said, we're going to review those 5 episodes of Flash coming in perfect time for Stargirl ending and Doom Patrol ending. But
Yeah, it's gonna be a very, very slow and very new. Like what's the terminology? Uh,
Slow
slow
news day.
slow spread of news throughout the
Yeah.
rest of the year. To be completely honest,
Yeah,
so
it's
just bear with us.
gear up for the Batman, and also I think WB and DC are smart enough to know that there's one particular character that's going to dominate from now until the new year and into the new year, and he swings webs, and he's not a
Yeah,
DC character.
I'm just gonna tell you, Heinz, don't go on Twitter after this. I'm just letting you know now. Do not go onto Twitter. We
I'll have
will
to
talk
stick in
more.
our chat.
We will talk more after we end this podcast. But guys, thank you so much for lasting this long. Of course, you can always find me at Fanboy Clay. Linktree is in the bio over on Twitter. With all the links of all the shows that I host, that including DC Alliance, Batman News Weekly, Comic Book Legion podcast, Weird Science, manga, DC, and Marvel, as well as the Ranger Alliance here at the GOA, as well as the newly added Star Wars Alliance. So, Travis, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Travis_156. You can drop me a line. We can chat about DC anytime. Host the other podcast on this network of superhero discussions. Myself and Clay are talking about Young Justice Season 4. Great time. Reviewed Injustice last week with Joe. Please take a listen to that. Please give a listen to that. Listen to my suffering, my disappointment, my heartache, my just expectations completely slashed. So, yeah, fun if you want to hear somebody's heartbreak over podcasting. Clay, this was a lot more fun than that. Actually, double fun tonight because we got to talk about Young Justice as well. Thank you for that, sir. I'm sure I'll be talking with you in chat. I'll be avoiding Twitter, like you said. Everyone, thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week for another episode. Later, everyone.
See ya.